Welcome to the 163rd episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. It is Monday, October 30th. I'm local man Aaron VanTuyl, joined by Chronicle Editor-in-Chief Eric Schwartz, Chronicle Assistant Editor Isabel Vander, Stoep, and Chronicle Photo Editor Jared Wenzelburger. As always, we are joined in spirit by sponsors Summit Funding and The Roof Doctor. How is everyone?
Doing good. Great.
Happy Halloween.
It's not Halloween yet.
It's almost, it'll be
Tomorrow
passed by the
will
next
be-
time we podcast, so.
I hope everyone has a safe and happy Halloween.
What are you guys going to do?
I was just going to ask you that.
I crawl the Edison District. This is all Edison District back here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go there every year. Certain honey holes back there. Mm-hmm. Not telling you where they're at, though.
I'm sure I would never find them because I am 40 and too old to trick or treat.
So on Halloween, you'll be, in your living room? Drinking, alone? Watching Murder, She Wrote?
Well, we're doing the sports podcast tomorrow, so I'll be doing that.
Wow.
Spooky sports.
It's going to be scary.
Sports.
How about you guys? What are you doing?
I'll probably be running around with a camera dressed as a news reporter, taking photos for the Chronicle of kids trick-or-treating.
Not doing the Jason mask?
Maybe.
You wore that yesterday at the Trunks with Treats thing.
I don't know.
It's kind of getting old now.
Are we talking trunks and treats on this podcast? I heard 1 billion people were there.
Yeah, at least 1, maybe 2 billion.
That was also the first time I've looked at a comment section and seen nobody arguing about the actual size of the crowd.
No, but some of them were still complaining that there was not enough free candy. I saw that.
How dare they?
Well, I saw the museum responded, and I guess like a third of the cars that had signed up to come just no-showed. So it was a legit complaint in that way, but it's free.
That sounds like there's extra candy at all the cars. But
It looked like fun. What was the best costume you saw there, Jared?
oh, there was a ton of really good costume. It's hard to pick this one. We had a local favorite. We had a Blippi.
No, I saw that. Is it the Blippi impersonator? The guy that books himself for Blippi appearances, but
I don't
not
think
actually
so
Blippi?
because it was like a 5-year-old. But
I love how he considered it.
But there was a lot of good costumes. I saw like the Among Us big blow up costumes along with the dinosaurs.
Is Among Us still a thing?
I think so. A lot of the kids were dressing up as it. I saw Mario. I saw a bunch of Spider-Men. There was like 18 Naruto or something like that.
Spider-Men.
To be clear, they're just slightly less than 1 billion people. There were 2,000 trick-or-treaters, according to Owen. That's just the kiddies.
Can I have a hot take for you guys?
Go for it.
The blow-up dinosaur, like inflatable T-Rex costumes?
Boring.
Trash.
I agree.
Seen too many of them. People are always like, "Oh my God, look at this! I was a bridesmaid wearing a T-Rex outfit." Or,
Yeah.
It does seem a bit 2020.
God,
What do you feel? How do you
get over
feel
it.
about specialty ones though? Because last year I've mentioned it before, but there was a guy dressed as Donald Trump riding a very patriotic,
Yeah, that's fun.
red, white, and blue
funny.
themed.
Yeah, I
T-Rex.
guess that's
It's just
original
got to be
at least.
something new. The old brown dinosaurs got to go.
Yeah,
You're gonna see a lot of them though.
I know. Well, I'm not because
They
I
think
will
they're
not be,
very clever as
I will
well.
not be going
What
out.
if we made one where Aaron was riding on the brown dinosaur?
That'd be cool.
Sure.
It would be
I think
for
you'd laugh.
children sized.
Yeah.
Do you guys get trick-or-treaters out on the launch?
No, not in my house.
No, we don't really at all. I see them, but no, not really.
Then they disappear into the fog.
You probably get a lot, right?
We get a good amount down by Penny Playground.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't
Our next other preamble item, a true glorious tire pile arose at the Southwest Washington Fairgrounds this weekend. I'm opening the link. Beautiful. Just phenomenal tire work here.
That's
Yeah.
not even at full size either. I'd love to see how big it ended up. That was at the very beginning of the tire pile.
That's only at half mast, you're saying?
If you
That
scale
was the
that
beginning of
out
the second day.
with based on the time, like
1 billion tires
could
were
have been
there.
a lot of
I
tires.
mean, there's still probably I think 2 billion actually.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure they're still there. We can swing by and get a photo for you.
I might. Is this still open? Like I found some tires at my place.
It's Friday and Saturday.
And Thursday.
I'm gonna have to
I think.
break into the tire pile.
Well, the Chronicle's reporting said Friday and Saturday.
Okay. All right. News items. First up, gun charge against state cowboy Jeff Wilson dropped by Hong Kong court. Jeff Wilson did 3 days in a Hong Kong jail, and they let him walk and continue his trip through Thailand, Cambodia, and Malaysia. Quote from Jeff Wilson in a statement said, "When the next legislative session begins in January, I look forward to working on issues like salmon recovery, public records, and affordable housing. I think we can all learn from what happened here." First, of course, to always check your carry-on luggage before you go through airport security. But more important, when you make a mistake like this one, the right thing to do is to show respect and accept responsibility. Coming out of this and being like, we can all learn something from what happened here. No, everybody else has already learned this. Like, this is not some surprise. Like, whoa. Can't have my gun on an airplane anymore? What's going on?
He handled it correctly. He did what he was supposed to do. I guess they weighed that in, the fact that he came off the plane and, turned in his gun customs immediately.
Yeah,
if you're gonna carry a gun, at least, he did it the right way.
If I were his spokesperson editing this statement, I would have been like, maybe we can pull this. I think we can all learn something here.
I understand that there must have been a consideration, the fact that he, made note of it by himself and was, taking accountability and whatnot. But I have to think there's a little bit of, state lawmakers in trouble. Somebody call this person who calls this person. You know what I mean?
Who do you think the highest person up that call tree was that responded to China or to Hong Kong?
I'm just saying, I feel like somebody pulled some strings.
Who's our Secretary of State right now?
Steve Hobbs.
Do you think Hobbs got that call and was like, oh, yeah, I'll get right on it. Let me fly over there and get Jeff Wilson out of jail?
It seemed like it was...
I'm not talking about state government necessarily, but I don't know.
I think Jeff Wilson called Donald Trump, who called Xi Jinping, and then they were just like, all right, we'll let him out.
Yeah, I'm sure Donald Trump was like, another legal issue for me to be involved in.
I, for one, am just happy that Jeff Wilson is back on his vacation now.
Yeah, he will continue his tour through Asia.
What if he gets held up now? We're all going to have to rethink our stances.
If he gets held
up? Without his weapon.
That would be not funny because he'd be in danger, but also...
No.
All right. Next item. Centralia dog bite victim frustrated. Twin Cities lacks resources for dog court. This is a story about a dog that jumped a fence and bit a woman. And other than issuing a couple misdemeanors, not a whole lot has happened. The police only have so much power, and the County Dangerous Animal Designation Board is a volunteer system independent of the health department. Laura Riddell, the victim, had to get 25 stitches, and she isn't thrilled about what hasn't been done. A quote from her, "I'm almost 70 years old. Why the hell would I go harassing her dog?" I really just wanted to put this in there to get that quote because I loved it.
Yeah, it's a great quote.
Besides the August 26th incident involving Riddell, there have been at least 6 other entries labeled vicious dog in Sirens since April.
And worthy to note here that Sirens only includes Chehalis and Centralia Police Department. So that's why this story is kind of about there's not really a lot that can happen in the Twin Cities right now when it comes to dangerous animal stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a civil matter as well. If she wanted to sue the lady, then you could do that.
Yeah, she could do that. But the thing about the Dangerous Animal Designation Board is that it prevents the dog from just biting somebody else, right? Having these rules. And it's not that Chehalis and Centralia don't have any rules, but they're more lax.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting story.
I had a dog following me on the launch once, and it was lowering its head and kept creeping up behind me. And I was real scared. It went for a block, and I don't walk very often, but I was walking on this day. And finally, it started running at me, and I panicked. It was a very good boy. It just wanted to be petted.
Aw.
Yeah, and I was so scared of it.
Yeah.
I've had a dog hop a fence and try to chase me on a bike. It was a Sandlot moment, and it was scary. It didn't bite me or anything, but it was not a dog to be messed with.
Aaron, do you have any stories of not getting bit by a dog from your time running around Lewis County?
I've only been bit. One dog nipped at me and bit my hand a little bit once, but that was
pit bull, wasn't it?
It was a pit bull,
problem breed.
I've had plenty of dogs run after me, chase after me. A lot of barking.
Pit bulls getting the bad rap. I saw a really cute one at the Trunks for Treats event, and it was dressed up as a cow.
Yeah, I saw that. The spots were pink on the bottom and everything.
Aww.
Yeah, that was a
Cute.
good costume.
Next item, Chehalis establishes cost recovery program for some fire department emergency services. Those boys over in the Mid-City finally figured out how to make emergency response profitable, damn it. The new ordinance allows emergency services to send out bills for certain situations. Chehalis Fire Chief Adam Fulbright said the fire department has responded to a lot of incidents caused by people who are not Chehalis residents, all at zero cost to those who caused the incidents and without attempting to recover any costs. He said sometimes those costs get steep and kind of burdensome on the budget and the taxpayers. I don't know how you guys feel, but like those costs are like that's the job. That's what the department's there for, right?
Yeah, but I think there's argument to be had that he makes that the money is there for people in the district, the people that they serve, not necessarily for people who are coming from outside of it and have problems. And so they're just trying to recoup their costs. It's not like that dissimilar to the 911 tax that is on the ballot. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're arguing in that way, saying that residents coming through using 911 don't pay anything into it. So I don't know. I think it just says that, times they want to get everything they can.
But when did Chehalis last collect its 1% bank?
Oh, I don't know. Never?
Shouldn't they do that before they start charging people for using emergency services that taxpayer dollars already support?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more popular to tax people who don't live here than to tax people who live here more.
Yeah, but that's the whole setup of how these things
And now this is the whole setup to how things go.
Yeah, it also, I don't know. I guess it feels to me like it could be, I'm half joking here, but you keep kicking this down the line and eventually it'll get to be an issue where, emergency response shows up to a car wreck, and there's an old lady, and they're like, we're going to see your ID before we bust these jaws of life out, lady.
No, I don't think it says anything about they would only do the stuff if
I mean, that's the logical, down the line, it could come to that, theoretically. I didn't think we'd be in this situation where,
Yeah, obviously. Here we are. It's state law. This already existed. Other departments do it.
What if everybody started doing that?
Then EF Recovery, a Gig Harbor-based billing agency, would be getting a lot of business.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it's all going to a middleman to me.
I mean, in your doomsday theory, eventually you're going to get in a car wreck and the firefighter's going to show up and he's going to have you run your card off of his firefighter card reader right there.
Like fire departments in the 1800s or whatever. They'd be like, ooh, sorry, you're not a member of the
Is that
club.
how it went in the 1800s?
Yes, look it up.
How do I even look that up?
Have you seen Gangs of New York?
Oh, you're basing your entire... Okay.
It was a real thing.
This is fairly typical.
History, you mean?
Yes, the motion picture Gangs of New York. Daniel Day-Lewis, yeah.
It was historically accurate. Mm-hmm. That really happened. Anyway, anything else from you, Eric Schwartz? You want to talk about how the world began 2,000 years ago?
I shared with you that I was taught that in my Christian school.
Really?
I was in elementary school, but yeah, one of my classmates asked how old the world was, and he was like, well, it's really easy to remember. You just look at the year, and it's that many years.
What? Not even the Bible says
No,
that.
I know. This person was just off base. Maybe I did. This is an old memory, but it stuck with me because
Wow.
You were the one saying this.
No, I was told that.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, prove me wrong.
There is, I believe, a cap on this program where they're expecting maybe 10,000 the first year or something like that.
That was the low side, but they thought when they looked at last year's, there were $77,000 recoverable.
Yeah. I don't think this is how dare Chehalis Fire do this. I just think it's when you have, when you're lacking the support to continue the services that you need, that's why we have social programs established and why we collect property taxes. And I'm on the record as a pro EMS levy and safety of all kinds social program person. So I just tend to lean more in the not charging users direction when it comes to that stuff.
How is that not charging the users, though? You're just charging them in a different way and keeping the residents out of it.
No, because you're having the people who live in the community support the services that are there to keep them alive.
I just feel like this assumes Chehalis residents don't go other places and
it's also
stuff happens.
It's also just that the cost for old lady in the car crash to be helped by something is far greater on the direct billable scale than it is when it's put through taxes.
Would a 1% levy lead lift be $10,000 to $70,000?
No, it would be a lot more.
A lot more.
But it would
So-
go to
and
a lot of
no
different
one-
city projects.
But no
It's
one
not
made
just
any.
for the fire
But
department.
no one made any argument that was needed.
I just thought that they should have done that first, is what I was saying.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, that's fine.
You're really just sticking it to Centralia. That nobody says it. It's like under their breath. That's what this is about.
Yeah,
The
I'm sure it
Centralians are costing us too much money.
In other news, and I don't know, like kind of adjacent to this, Winlock has a new fire truck thanks to the state treasurer.
Yes, directly adjacent to this.
Well, it involves fire
It
trucks.
does.
Maybe Shayla should ask Mike Pelliciotti for
Helicody?
for some new Jaws of Life or whatever they're
Velocity?
wearing out. Yeah. Anyway, one of his programs gifted Winlock a new fire truck. It's new to Winlock, and it is a 2023 fire truck. Pretty neat.
That's pretty neat.
Woo, yeah. I bet you wish you had a fire truck.
I mean, I do.
Anything else you guys want to cover before we take our ad break?
There was ghost tours at the Lewis County Historical Museum.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Sounded pretty spooky.
Yeah, they had all sorts of
Do we need some spooky music? Can I remember which button it is?
anecdotes. And
Nice. Good job.
Yeah.
I was
the right
sharing
one.
with Owen, who wrote this up earlier, that I did this eons ago, or well over a decade ago, with Debbie Knapp.
Oh, yeah.
Disgraced former.
Disgraced.
Who is that?
She's the former executive director of the museum who embezzled hundreds
Oh,
and
right.
hundreds of thousands of dollars and nearly sank the entire operation. And I've always wondered if she blamed the missing money on ghosts.
I had a-
they had a meeting, and she was just like, "Has anyone considered?"
I had a bit in Power Rankings about that after it happened. Like there was a ghost tour shortly after the Debbie Knapp thing, and I was like, ooh, maybe if you leave a checkbook out, the ghost of Debbie Knapp will show up and write herself a check to cash.
Did she die?
No, she just disappeared.
No, she was convicted. I think she's already done her time, probably by now. All the
Slap on the
stories
wrist.
were like basically stuff getting knocked off shelves or things being moved around in different displays overnight. But one of them that I hear every time the ghost, so this is like the one that sticks the most, is a woman just appearing out of nowhere to ask when the next train is coming. And the person was like, this place hasn't had trains in years. And the woman thanked the museum employee and then kind of faded away.
I love that.
Sure.
I like to think it was just somebody who was looking for their train.
A very
Thought there
real
was a
thing.
stop there.
Somebody wandered down from the pub and was like, I got a train to catch. Anything else? What's on the homepage right now?
Oh,
What's in tomorrow's paper?
click over there. Edna Fund won an award. You wrote
Oh,
about
that's
that,
neat.
Isabel. What was that, for the Farm Bureau?
Yeah, the Farm Bureau annually gives out the Tony Freese Award for former Farm Bureau member, now passed away, but you probably would recognize his wife, Michelle Freese, who is a Red Cross volunteer from Winlock. She's at like every disaster in Lewis County. They gave that award to Edna for her advocacy for agriculture in Lewis County and starting the tradition of Lewis County commissioners coming to Farm Bureau meetings on a regular schedule.
Related, who's our newest columnist? We have a new columnist?
Yes, Maureen Harcum, who is the president of the Lewis County Farm Bureau. She has turned in 2 columns so far and is hoping to do a twice monthly, I think, in the best case scenario, and like highlight on agriculture, which is something the Chronicle has had before but hasn't had for a little while. So it's exciting to get that voice back on the opinion page.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And she's a pretty good writer, and her stuff's really clean, and it's extremely local, which I really like.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
she have a name for the column?
She does, but what was it?
I feel like it was focus on agriculture,
I
wasn't
think
it?
was something I came up with.
Agri-column?
We discussed that. Yeah, I think we talked about
Cattle
this.
call?
Yeah, I like agri-column. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I think we might go with that. And then one other item there's lots on the homepage, but another one that's kind of interesting is the IWW is going to dedicate a Centralia tragedy memorial plaque on November 11th. And they're also asking Governor Inslee for posthumous pardons for the union members who were convicted and or killed, or both, in the aftermath of it. And there's a rich discussion on Centralia Massacre or Centralia Tragedy, or Armistice Day Tragedy.
What if you called it the Alfalfa Files?
You're still on that. I think that's really good.
That was really funny, Aaron.
All right.
Well
I'm
done.
looking at the homepage. We've also got some Winlock City Council race previews.
Yep, a couple of those.
A lot
That's
of
happening?
election stuff has been in each of the last papers. So, yeah, keep an eye out for those local races.
Lewis County Public Works Employer Tires. Some interesting sirens.
There's a
Fiddle
couple
Jam
indecent
session
and
coming Friday.
Yeah, a couple indecent exposures in there for you today.
Ooh.
Franklin,
Yeah.
where are you? Yeah, business week's coming. All right. Yeah, we'll go to break and we will be back shortly.
Hi, this is Jeff and Julie from Fairway Lanes.
Jeff and I met Jacek of Summit Funding at our bowling center, so when we fell in love with this community and it was time to relocate, we knew we would be calling Summit Funding.
They understand that everyone has a unique situation when buying a home.
He had already helped 2 of our employees get into their own homes. The Summit Funding team exceeded our expectations. It was a seamless experience with great communication from his whole team.
Thank you to Summit Funding for making our buying experience special and memorable.
All right, we're back. Time for Tales from the Takes page. And the only entry I've got on here is John McCroskey has returned. And his column is titled, We're Lucky to Have Deep Thinkers in Olympia and Washington, D.C. And he is doing a sarcasm on us. He starts with a bit about Jay Inslee and then takes us on a tour de force of Newsmax talking points from men having babies to no longer being able to call parents mothers or fathers. And then he talks about crime being up everywhere and the police not being able to do their jobs, but fails to mention the jail he built, not accepting new criminals.
That's his fault.
No, I did. It would be nice if he would throw
Why
that into
didn't
his
you
long
think
screed.
25 years ahead about staffing, John?
He did. He said in reports 20 years ago. Haven't we written that somewhere?
Yeah. I don't, it'd be nice to throw into this
Oh, he
column
said he
about
needed a new
everything
jail
being
by
terrible.
this point.
Yeah.
We're not even filling the one we have.
Anyway, if you forgot to check Twitter's worst accounts for the last 2 years, you can just read this column and get the entire gist of it.
As always, I
Oh,
disagree.
believe
John
me.
McCroskey offers a valued perspective for many of our readers. I appreciated that this entire column was in sarcastic mode, as I told you. Usually he'll do a little bit of that and then break out, but this one's start to finish, just
Look, as
it's hard to
a
headline those,
as a Twitter user myself, I can tell you there are far worse accounts on Twitter than this opinion. People say the craziest stuff to me on that app.
If you're going to go on just a 800-word screed about everything that you imagine Democrats are doing, at least throw a solution out there somewhere.
It's a sarcasm.
Well, and also I think
Kind
the
of.
solution is the opposite of what has been done, and that's that's understood to the reader.
Better yet, they will have to reduce the standards to be a police officer so low they'll only get the best and brightest who are unqualified just a few short years ago, and it takes years to train one. So win-win. It sounds like he's advocating for some kind of police training reform
It's
there.
the sarcasm there, and also that is an actual thing. They are having to readjust the limits on hires. It's a thing. Mm-hmm. Everyone's understaffed, Aaron.
After thousands of years, we have concluded what we already knew, and they were just too afraid to say, men can have babies.
Well,
Does this have to do with anything?
has it not been in the press? Has it not?
Has it? I don't know.
It has been at
Not
some
on the
point. I
news
don't think it's
sources I
recent
read.
though.
Why don't you write about that?
It was an Oregon thing at one point, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, there's plenty of other really good stuff on the opinion page to go along with Mr. McCroskey. Bob Moorbacher's commentary was one of my favorites of the week. It was short and sweet, but it was highlighting Doris Wood Brumsicle and
she's
her
good.
contributions over at Centralia College. If you know Doris or have known her in the past, on November 1st, it is Doris Wood Day at Centralia College, and they're going to have a reception for her over there.
On Wednesday,
Yeah, I believe so. That is November
Doris
1st.
Woods Day.
Yeah.
See? See what they did there?
That's not horrible. Julie McDonald wrote about the carbon tax boosting Washington's gas prices to among the highest in the nation, and related that from her travels around Washington and Oregon and Colorado. Yeah. Pretty good stuff. And then Brian Mitke wrote about Woodstick, which was started by a Centralia guy or Chehalis guy. Brian's writing it, so I would think it's probably a Chehalis guy. Anyways, he wrote about that. I don't know. We had some good columns this week.
Mr. George Washington historian. He's very Centralia too.
Yeah.
That's true.
Siren's banger of the week.
It was a Centralia guy, for the record.
Thank you, Jared.
At 1 a.m. on October 26th, the caller reported he thought someone entered his apartment in the 100 block of North Market Boulevard, quote, drank his vitamin water, then stole his bike. All right.
Really
Sounds
buried the lead,
dicey.
I thought.
Yeah.
Start with the bike.
Well, maybe the vitamin water was more important to him. Maybe he was really thirsty. And he didn't have his bike to go buy another one.
Inside his apartment. Does he not have water?
Hey, not everybody has... Check your privilege, Isabel.
No, I'm pretty sure that's a law, Aaron.
We'll see. On October 25th, a caller reported he left his backpack in an alley in the 400 block of Shayless Avenue. While he was digging through a nearby dumpster, and an employee of an associated business had taken his backpack and refused to give it back. The employee returned the backpack to the caller while the caller was on the phone with police.
Who's in the right here? Because I can't decide.
Well, I don't think you can just take someone's backpack
No,
regardless.
I don't want them
Hey,
to do
you're
that
not supposed to dig through
either.
dumpsters either.
Yeah.
What if you're hungry?
Well, maybe you have some snacks in your backpack.
No food, then no backpack either?
Yeah, I know. What a pickle. Maybe he had a bicycle and a vitamin water, though, and got away.
He wishes he had a pickle.
And... But of course, the true Sirens banger of the week, or maybe the month, or even the year. Cowlitz County man accused of trying to hire prostitute for his horse. Jad K. Shipman of Longview was arrested and booked into jail for 1 count of first-degree attempted animal cruelty. It kind of sounds like the opposite of animal cruelty. And 1 count of patronizing a prostitute. According to documents, he was communicating with a person on a forum-based website where users can solicit prostitutes, where he allegedly offered to pay $440. That's a fairly specific amount.
Yeah.
To a person to travel to Longview to touch him and his miniature horse sexually. Shipman told the potential prostitute he was having a difficult time finding a willing participant to join him, as the, quote, last 2 gals I asked said it was noticeably outside their comfort zone.
No way. Yeah, that's a banger.
It's a daily news story. We need to highlight that.
But how did the horse feel? Anyway, yeah. What a tale.
Was this like a Chris Hansen moment where they like set him up and the prostitute was like a cop, or
Just walked in. It was another horse that walked in and was like, have a seat.
It says in the story, I want to say they like intercepted messages through, it says a Vice unit detective from the Bellevue Police Department contacted the Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office to report that a user, later identified as Shipman, was using this forum website.
Well, giddy up.
So no, I think the person that he contacted was actually a potential prostitute.
a potential willing participant?
Anyway, that's enough about that. People's Champion of the Week. We've got Tenino's Dave Montgomery, who took over the microphone for the University of Washington. Isabel asked, does Sports Dump have a People's Champ? Because if not, my vote is for Montgomery. He's also a social studies teacher, girls soccer coach, and boys soccer assistant coach at Tenino. Started announcing in Rochester in 2015. He's held the job down at Tenino since 2018 when he took over for the legendary Hal Williams, who held the job for like 50 years. He's also the announcer for the Lacey Lights, a semi-pro team here in Thurston County. And on Twitter, he wrote that his mom loved the story. I like Dave. Nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
And then we've got a Chehalis FFA student who's competing in a national competition. When her FFA advisor first suggested she compete in a leadership development event where she would have to recite the 5-paragraph FFA creed from memory and then answer questions related to it in front of a judge, WF West student Skyly Boy had the reaction many would expect from a teenager. I was like, absolutely not, she recalled. Then she went on to finish in the top 3 at the sub-district, district, and sub-state levels of competition last spring before placing first at state in May. Returned to her spot in the upcoming National FFA Creed Speaking Leadership Development event at the 96th National FFA Convention and Expo in Indianapolis.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Did you guys ever do FFA?
Oh, my sister did.
You strike me as an FFA guy.
I was not.
No?
We
Nope.
gave my
Your brother?
sister a lot of crap over
He
it.
was in 4-H.
Yeah.
Both my sisters were in 4-H too, but we gave my sister a lot of crap over FFA because we aren't really like farmers.
You have chickens?
Yeah, but that's like not. I mean, we're not agriculturalists. Like we have like a backyard flock, you know.
I've seen how raccoons are dealt with in those parts.
Don't tell the people of the news dump.
Don't tell anyone. Fairly. They're treated fairly.
I don't believe you. I don't have any Facebook comments of the week, but I'm just going to pull up whatever is going on the Chronicle.
I'm sorry, I couldn't
Facebook.
bear to look.
Oh, no, you're going to live read them?
Maybe if the page will load.
If you find any of the hunting posts, you'll probably find some stuff in there. That's been every late October a thing because we share hunting success stories. And
I think I would like to write a column about how hunting is actually the most sustainable way to get your meat.
Sarah Burdick, our dear beloved staffer downstairs, actually did write a column like that, and I just haven't been edited and shared it yet. But
I would love to look at
it's
it.
pretty good.
Yeah. I like when a bunch of dudes go to like Idaho on a hunting trip together and shoot a deer. I'm like, we have deer here. It's just about the fellowship, you know?
Yeah, they're just hanging out.
Normalize just going on vacation with your boys.
Bros being bros. I completely understand when people don't want to see photos of dead deer. Like I get it, and it's if you're sensitive to that, whatever. I also understand not hunting. Like I don't go hunt for deer for the same reason. I don't think that I would stomach it very well, but I also think that it's silly to think that people just like hate the environment and animals and that's why they're doing it, when it's like this is how humanity has survived since the beginning.
Yeah, it's hard to even like argue against them though, because they, in my understanding and talking with some people directly that were upset that we were sharing it, they know all that.
Yeah.
And they just like do not like the idea of killing animals. And specifically, a lot of them don't like the ideas of kids killing animals. And then like it feels like they're learning a bad trait.
But
that's
your
just what they
kids
say.
eat meat?
I know.
And do you eat meat?
I think around here, yeah.
It just doesn't really click with me.
I agree. And I think most people in Lewis County would agree with you. And they tend to when we share them in the paper and Cronline and on Facebook.
I also think there's value in like having those kinds of conversations spurred by your local newspaper sharing that kind of stuff. I think it's fine if you want to express that opinion. And I'll argue against you, but I don't think there's a right or wrong when it comes to I want to see dead animals or not. But it's also we showcase lots of local sports and activities. And this is something that's a vital part of a lot of people's lives in Lewis County. And why would we just neglect that because it's like controversial to a small group of the readership?
I don't love the like big high ticket trophy hunting, for instance.
Yeah.
But we've done some of those in the past too, and I think people are more critical of those. That's when you pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to hunt a very specific animal in a very specific space.
Like
Don't love it.
No, I don't either. And like, if you're killing polar bears, like maybe you have other things you could do.
Unless
with
it's
your
your
time.
bare hands, or a knife.
I
If
have
you do it
long
with a
said-
knife, then I think it's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree with that completely. But especially like utilizing the resources that are available for you in your backyard and not necessarily buying like processed meat from across the world that has a way bigger carbon footprint than you shooting a deer. I just think there's so much to be said about the value of that. And it's like, it's self-sustainability and all these other things that like Americans are and love.
We got some comments on the tire pile post. This guy says, again, why aren't these events posted or even mentioned prior to happening? A lot of good it does to see this
That
2
was
days
at
after
the
it
start.
closed.
That we posted that story at the
Well,
beginning.
this
of
guy made this comment 5 hours ago.
No,
and he,
we-
like I, has some tires he'd like to get rid of.
We also did preview the event along with the PL event about 2 weeks ago in the paper and online. It was actually pretty popular online, so I'm surprised like more people didn't see it. Looks like they got their fair share of tires, thank God.
Yeah,
But,
plenty of people did see it, apparently.
I don't know, get a subscription.
Do you guys?
Miss nothing.
You probably remember this from our backyard tire pile, but I think it's really cool. They like shred those up and turn them into like playground mats.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Or just like chunks that like instead of bark.
Yeah.
There's some hotels in Oregon that have that.
It's cool, and you wouldn't think that a tire, which it seems so useless once used, like would have more value in this pile or with some company than it would in your backyard. But turns out they have good ways to recycle them.
All right. What else we got? We got some spooky pictures of a house with a bunch of shit on it.
Halloween highlight, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can
that's
send
what it
your
is.
pictures and your address and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. We'll post it up. People love it.
Yeah.
Aaron doesn't because he doesn't love any holiday. But
No, I like Halloween. All right.
oh,
Yeah, it's fine. I like the holidays. Some of them.
oh,
I like the one with all the Irish shit. St. Patrick's Day. That one's
one where
cool.
you drink a lot.
And Cinco de Mayo.
That's all of them. Yeah. I'm just trying to find some good Facebook comments, and I'm not seeing much.
Yeah, it's been kind of slow. We could just skip it, you know?
We could. Oh, we got a history. You busted out a history photo. Look at you.
No, that one was a contributed history photo.
Really?
Yeah, that's from Mr. Blair. I believe he's out now in Alaska, but he'll send one every once in a while, and they're always really good.
Somebody says, I never heard of Doty before. Interesting.
what?
Oh, yeah, I did those history photos.
Doty's never heard of you either.
I'm gonna lay off him. Whatever.
I wonder if my great-grandparents are there in this picture waiting for the train. Chauncey and Wilhelmina Doty with my grandmother Charlotte and her brother Walter.
That's actually a very
Wow.
famous name in Doty. I mean, it's what Doty's named after.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But Chauncey and Wilhelmina, what a couple.
I mean, if your last name's Doty, I feel like really go for it with the first name. You know, Chauncey,
Yeah.
go for it.
People who don't know the history photos, by the way, they will even ask sometimes, like, where's Centralia? Which Centralia? And it's because the history photos are so popular that they spread to, I mean, we have like 65,000 followers.
Fair. I guess
DJ
not
page views.
everyone who they share it to
Yeah.
would know where Doty is.
If you look at like the distribution of our followers, they're all over the place. Like obviously Lewis County is the most, but there are a ton as you move up north, and there's a ton as you move south, and there's a ton as you go east.
I guess I shouldn't be a Lewis County elitist, a West Lewis County elitist, if nothing else.
You know, the people of Doty are also elitist if you were to call them Dryad.
oh,
They don't like
no,
that,
that's-
and vice versa.
yeah, no, fair.
During the flood, we all learned that because, I mean, that was like an introduction to the young reporters.
Sure.
In 2007. And
Sure.
it's easy to just say in the Doty and Dryad area, and you'll get a comment. Those are two different places.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them used to have a school.
We do the Twin Cities or Chehalis Centralia area, but I do understand, especially if you say something is in Chehalis that isn't, like, you know, or other way
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. We don't need to get too much further in this.
Fine by me.
Pick up a copy of the paper tomorrow, and you get to read about, like we said, Edna Fund, and see all the very cool photos from Trunks with Treats. And now that I'm listing these things off, I realize we have talked
We talked about
all
most of them, but you're going
covered
out
all.
to the Confederated
Oh, yeah.
Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation tomorrow, right? What's that about?
There's a high-ranking state official, you may know him as Governor Jay Inslee, who will be celebrating I think there are 29 reserve tribes, or tribes in Washington with reserve treaty rights, and then a couple in Oregon and Idaho. And that means essentially that they have claim to, like, usual and accustomed grounds outside of just the state that they were put on when reservations happened. And I'm not sure exactly what the ceremony is or the meeting is. I'm really interested to learn about it because I think it sounds like a really interesting topic. So we will be out there in Oakville early tomorrow morning.
All right. In closing, we're sponsored by Summit Funding and the Roof Doctor.
Oh, we should talk about the Roof Doctor because I have been meaning to tell our listeners how great they are. They're a family-owned roofing company, and they have been since 1959. Did you know that?
I did know that.
And they will also come to your house and give you a free quote on your roof. They make house calls, and they're very easy to contact if you go to theroofdoctor.com.
That's theroofdoctor.com. If you're local, you can also call them at 360-736-0246. The Roof Doctor does phenomenal work. All their reviews are excellent, and they have been around forever.
Well, 1959.
Well, I mean, according to your history lessons, that's, you know.
I'd like a history lesson on the evolution of roofs, to be honest, like from the eldest member of the Roof Doctor. You're welcome to come on here anytime.
Well, actually, I believe in the creationist theory of roofs, so.
They've only
Anyway.
been around for a pretty small percentage of history, or a
2,000
large percentage of
2,000
history.
years.
I mean, yeah.
Leave a review and rating for us on Apple Podcast, or you can rate us on Spotify if you want.
Or leave a rating for the Roof Doctor.
Or I don't know, send Schwartz an email if you have some stuff you want us to talk about. We'll talk to you next week.